the cube. Okay, when you're drawing a square, you want to start with really nice straight parallel lines. And I'm using lined paper in my sketchbook, so that kind of helps me. And the trick is you have 3 or 4 angles if it's a glass cube. So notice how all 4 of my angles match. The bottom, the next one, my next horizontal, and then my 4th one. Okay, my left vertical, right vertical, I've got one behind, and that one matches. Where people mess up with the cube is they draw it so that the angles aren't parallel, and if you have all 4 angles parallel, it's going to be solid every single time. So this time I'm just going to do 3 angles because this is not going to be a glass cube. We're going to make this a solid box. So I've got 1, 2, 3 angles are the same. Then my next angle, 1, 2, and then 3, and then the top, bottom, top, and then the back side. So if you think of a block that you play with as a child, every time you draw anything that has to start with a basic cube, that is what you're thinking of. The front, the back, and then either the bottom or the top. Left, middle, right there. And if it seems off, just check your angles. It's probably just off slightly. Using a ruler will help a lot with this too. Okay, then if you add values, it helps to create that 3D effect. And so you need to decide where your light source is going to be. My light source is coming from the bottom right. And so I'm going to make my top surface my middle tone. And then the side of the box will be my lightest shade. And then the front will be my darkest. And I'm using 3 different pencils. I'm doing an 05, an 07, and an 09 for the graphite because it gets darker as it goes. But if you just have an HB pencil, just make sure your tip is really sharp and make sure that your pressure is really light as you layer on your highlighted area. The middle tone, I just would do more layers. And then that darker tone, again, more layers, but as you do the last few layers, you get darker and you press hard with that pressure. Notice how I'm changing directions as I'm blending with my pencil. I'm not using my finger. I hate smudging with the finger. And then that blends it nice and flat. And you want to make sure your edges are really nice and cleaned up. That's why I suggest sharpening that tip of the pencil. You can erase any edges that you go outside of the box. This time we don't want you going outside the box. Don't think outside the box. We're staying within the box. And this one, we don't really show our lightest angle because of the angle of the box. And so the top would be my lightest one. So we want to make that left one really nice and dark. Notice I'm right-handed, so I worked left to right on all of my boxes, not to smudge my previous boxes. And that's it.